Well, hello, hello, hello. How you, Robert? All right.
Fantastic. This is a day that I've been waiting for a couple of weeks now in very high anticipation. And we decided to come on live early. Why? Because people are going to have trouble getting into the room. People are going to be asking for links, at last minute, and it's all good because we're going to come live in all of our groups for the moment before we start the boot camp and give people the chance to get in or send questions. Where's the link or where's that? How do I do this? How do I upgrade for that? And we're going to be able to answer it live before we actually start the boot camp.
Yeah.
However, we will start talking about the client onboarding boot camp in here. Nobody will miss anything. It's not part of all the material that we've created. It's just a little added bonus, if you will,
Mm.
because how many hours can we keep you on every day? Because if we keep going, it's going to be a boot camp week instead of just a couple hours per day, right? We already have 3 days scheduled, which is today, starting at noon, tomorrow, same time, EST, and then the following Saturday is currently scheduled as a third part. So those are the days we're going to do the boot camp, and all 3 days are different. If you bought the high end or the elite version, that's different training than day one and day two. You need all 3 days. Will there be replays? There'll be replays on the basic content, but the live portions that we're actually going to have participation of the actual call with the participants are not going to be able to be recorded, and those will not be part of the replays. But everything else, material-wise, resources, anything that we're going to give you, you can still get from the members area. And depending on the level of what you purchased, 1, 2, or 3, you'll get the according resources.
So, Robert, how would you describe day one's boot camp that we're gonna when we get going in about 15 minutes time?
Probably one of the most important aspects of anybody getting into an online business, and it doesn't even, we're going to be pertaining to websites and rank and rent and client acquisitions of selling them websites or renting them websites, right? That's what we do. However, anybody going to any online venture, if you don't think about some of the stuff that we're going to cover in day one, you're going to learn the hard way of stuff that you could have avoided. And why am I saying that? Because what happens is, like in the rank and rent industry, we focus in the very beginning all about how we're going to build and what's going to be on the website and how do I do this on the website and how do I change that on the web. We focus so hard on the product that we don't focus on our business and the setup of the business going forward to what you're going to do for your clients. And that's a big mistake because when the phone starts ringing, you're in trouble. You don't have the answers for that potential customer or client, and you lose them just from not being prepared. So day one is about being prepared, set up the information that um, everybody needs, and everybody's going to have to customize because we don't know your business. We don't know what you're going to do, but you need to take all of this information and implement it into your business and what you're going to do and what you're going to offer. And it's vital. It's critical. It's we had a live call yesterday, like every Friday, and one of the members had said that wished he had all of this information that we're talking about when he started because he lost money. He got ripped off. He didn't have the answers for people when he started. He had to learn the hard way. And that's what most people do. It's it's always the school of hard knocks, right, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And this is getting exciting. The boot camp we've put together, we've got so much content in this. You know, that when you go into the members area, you when we add it in there later today after the boot camp, you may go in and feel a little bit overwhelmed, but don't. Okay, go once we've gone through the boot camp in the Zoom room only today. Then there's a point when you can go back and look at it and pick the stuff that you want to use from it. You know, we prefer to put so much content into our boot camps that when you go and you go, wow, I've got this, I've got that, I've got documents, I've got all sorts of stuff, you know, and this has been a few months in the making. We've had different teams on it working hard, and it's all coming together fast. And we're very excited to be doing this. If you're not in, please put a comment on this live video below. I'll get to see it on the screen, and we can always share the link. The links are in all our groups anyway, so we're certainly happy to be doing this. And in roughly 10 minutes time, we will get going. And whether everyone's in who's bought or just a few of you, we're still going to do it. And the all the training is going to be in the members area, so you can go back over that.
Well, let's intersect. There's so many people that are trying to schedule around this, and the issue for people's schedules is always tough. They always want the replay. They always, and I get it. I really do. Life is always in the way of things that you want to schedule and you want to do. However, we will supply, as long as everything records properly, right? All the replays. The only thing we can't supply that are in the replays, or there won't be in the replays, I should say, is the live interaction parts, where the people on the calls are going to be able to participate in some of the things that we're doing live. So those portions will not be recorded to be replays. We can't do it. That's all. But we'll give you all the assets. We'll give you everything else. We just can't give you the actual interactive parts.
No. If you are having any problems getting in, we've got a few people in the room already. If you are having any problems, you can reply back to the email that we sent out to the members with the link. You can comment on this live. I'm monitoring everything as I go along just to make sure that everyone can get in fine. And we'll keep an eye on that throughout the whole of the meeting.
So just to keep things rolling forward, if you're a successful agency and you have so many clients that you can't handle, you're still going to get tips for this, for what you could learn, different things that you may never have thought of. In most cases, the people getting into rank and rent always undervalue the client acquisition, finding clients, the ways of finding clients. And that's why we put the boot camp together. We want to have as many resources for our community to get into and find the clients they're going after, because the clients are the lifeblood of any business. And if you can do it for yourself, you can still do it for your clients, right? You can find different ways to help your local clients and charge for these services of onboarding new clients for them. You know, it's not just for yourself and your own business. That's what the boot camp is going to focus on. But at the end of the day, all of these techniques can be implemented into anybody's local business, depending on what the business is and what it does. You have to alter. But that being said, that's where we're going. We'll start when we hit the right time, which is noon. That's what time the boot camp is supposed to start. We'll have more people in the room, and then we'll start with the boot camp. And what we did do on purpose was pre-record, I should say, I can't speak today, pre-record portions of the training so that we can get through it. If we did everything live, we have questions coming in, we're trying to answer, we're gonna be thrown off track, and we want to get as much information to you upfront and direct as possible. So while you're listening to these pre-recorded parts, we'll still have lives in between. Take notes. Write down your notes so that you can ask your questions. You can pop your questions if you're on the call live into the chat, but we won't see them until afterwards. and we're not going to answer them until the appropriate time, because going through the rest of the training may already answer the questions that you may have. So that being said, that's what we're going to do, and that's how we're going to handle it. Then at the end, we're going to get into the live portion, the interactive portion again. We'll have one in the very beginning when everybody joins the room, and then we'll have another one later. Because being in a safe place to practice something is way better than trying to do it on your own on your first live client. And that's why we focused on that, because we know being uncomfortable is growth. We know that when you're put on the spot and you have to say something to the right person, you got to be ready. So that being said, not really part of the boot camp, but why not? Why not add it in the very beginning here?
Just before you say that, Robert,
go ahead.
If you've signed up, we've got people who've got in fine. When you sign up, go back to your emails and look for an email, probably from Product Dino, giving you access to the members area. And then in the members area is the Zoom link to come in and join us live. If you're having any problems, please comment on this live, or you can email us or message me on Messenger, and I'll be monitoring all of those channels just in case you're having any issues getting in.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So just a little tip. You schedule a local appointment, right, with a potential client. They've never met you before. You got to that through that first phone call or contact, and you decided to go meet them locally. In today's digital world, we don't think about it anymore, but dress for success. What's the difference of wearing a collared business shirt or a what they call business casual, if you will, going to that appointment versus a ratty old t-shirt that has holes in it and paint on it, right? What is the first impression of a potential customer that's about to spend money every month, or possibly a big lump sum of money to build a website, and they're not sure you're worthy just by the first appearance, right? You have to be ready for those appearances, and if nothing else, dress for success. And we're going to be upfront and transparent as much as possible, because that's just who we are, about going to a local meeting, right? In a digital world, you can't smell people through Zoom, right? They don't have cologne. There's no scent. But when you go to a business client meeting locally, think about that. Your breath, are you freshly showered? The clothing that you wear, dress for success and be successful, and put the best foot forward. If you're going for a coffee shop, don't make your potential customer buy you the coffee. I mean, if you can't afford the cup of coffee for the guy, don't invite him to the coffee shop. Meet him somewhere where you're not going to have coffee. But always put the best foot forward, what you're going to do with that client locally. Don't invite him to a steakhouse if you can't afford to pay for the steak. You know what I'm saying? You have to give them where you're at. And that's always a business 101 anyways. You write that stuff off, as far as saving the receipts, and it's part of your business. So that was just something added that I thought of earlier today, that a lot of people don't think about that. They just jump in the car and go meet the guy, and they're not prepared. If you have the information who you're going to talk to before you leave, what website they do or don't have, what they have been doing through a phone call conversation, make sure you looked up all that information, have it written down, take notes, and have an idea what you're going to offer them. Because if you don't, they're going to ask you, and you're going to stutter, and you're going to basically what I would do when I don't know the answer. I'm going to try to BS my way through it on a sales call, but it's not the way to do it. Be prepared, and it comes out right every time. Anything to add to that, Stephen?
No, I agree. It's I've had great success by at times being in coffee shops talking to customers about what I'm going to offer them, and someone sat behind me has gone and heard what I'm talking about, and then I've got two customers in the end instead of just one. So it's I always say as well, offer value. So don't give away your services, but you can sort of do a free audit or something like that. There's a whole different bunch of options you can do at the end of the day, isn't there?
And that is what it's all about. So I'm glad that we started this early. You guys haven't missed anything. We just came online to help people get links set up in case they were having trouble having a way to reach us, on Facebook. But the actual boot camp is supposed to start at 12, which is I think about 2 minutes away. And we just came online, like I said, early to talk to people a little bit about the dress for success features, the thinking about ahead of time of your business and what you're going to do. And for many of us, we already know that. But for some of us just starting out and you haven't thought about it, it's worthwhile.
Yeah. It's good to see so many people popping into the room. Let's unspotlight ourselves for a moment, Robert. Let me find me. Where's my button gone?
Oh, last comment about that. Meeting somebody local at the coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
Don't be late. Don't make them wait for you. Don't be late. I mean, give a range of time. I can be there between 11:30 and 11:45, right? Or 15-minute range. But don't show up an hour late or 50 or 30 minutes late. Most likely they've already left.
Yeah, it's always good to be there early and make sure they know what you look like at the end of the day. Because I went to a meeting once and the guy started phoning me from the coffee shop. He didn't know what I looked like, and I hadn't even thought of that. So when you send a confirmation of some sort, make sure that you send a little photo of yourself on that email confirmation if you've never met the person before. At least then they know who they're looking for at the end of the day.
So it's just after 12. So we're going to start our boot camp. And that was just a segue into it. We were just talking about going locally and dress for success.
Yeah.
And be ready, be prepared for what you're going to talk about and what you're going to offer. If you haven't already and you're going to a local shop to talk, because that's what people are going to do. The people that don't understand the digital world, they're going to want to talk to you locally. And that's why we always say, go local first, because they want to know. They want to know who you are before they're going to, they don't even trust sending money online, right? They don't trust sending transfers to the bank. They still go to the bank and deposit the checks, even though it's years and years and years, right? But there's still people out there that are run local businesses that take the cash to the bank and don't trust the online transfers.
Yeah. Did you want to do that quick exercise before we leave all the groups?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. I'm letting people
Let's
in.
get
So
everybody in the room.
Yeah.
So, in case you guys missed it, this is an interactive boot camp. So we're going to bring everybody in to the Zoom room. And we're going to open the mics. We're not going to talk, all of us at the same time, because that doesn't work. But we're going to ask some questions. And we're going to get a response of just the people that are in the room.
Yeah. Everyone's whizzing into the room now, which is good. It's good to see everyone on the live. So now we're all in, and I know there's probably still going to be people popping in as we go along, Robert. Did you want
Okay, are we ready to go interactive?
Put one in the chat if you're all ready to roll? And make sure you turn off distractions like your mobile phones and stuff, and kick the cat or dog out out the room.
We got a one from Barry, from Frankie, from Sam, from Bob. All right, so we're gonna do a mock-up, right? And we want to get a feel for the reason of doing an interactive boot camp for finding clients and client onboarding, right? That's the whole point of this. So we want to put everybody to put a 1 in the chat if you can answer this question. I mean, if you can't answer this question, and put a 2 if you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1 in the chat if you can't answer the question, 2 in the chat if you can. Okay.
Ready? Ring, ring. Hi, I found you online. You're a website creator. How much is your cost of your website, and what is it that you supply?
So if you can answer that question, but 1 in the chat if you can't answer it, and 2 if you can. So we've got David who says 1, Paul says 2, Bob says 1, Laurie says 1.5, always 1, isn't it? Barry says 2, Paul says 1, Sammy says 2, Frankie says 1, Bruno says 2. It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
It's a good mix. And those, if you hesitated, you know yourself, right? If you hesitated for a second, if you got uncomfortable, like you got that like feeling in your gut, like I should know this should be pretty simple, but you weren't ready to just blurt it out, right? That's what this is about. This is about being prepared for those situations. These, you walk up to somebody and you shake their hand, and they ask you what you do, and you go, I create websites. You lost them. You can bring them back if you're there face to face, but these are the things that boot camps create, right? They create that be ready for that client conversation. And we're going to do this in a safe place. That's the point of starting with this. Now, finding clients the different ways, we're going to cover all that. But first, we're going to set up what does our business look like and what we're going to do. And that's what we're starting with on day 1. Okay. So that feeling of, I don't have the answer, and if you did put a 2 in and you want to share exactly what you would have said, come on live and tell us, because your confidence level, that's perfect. That's where you should be. Can you learn from this boot camp still? Sure you can. But that should have been the answer from all of us if we were ready to onboard clients, right? We weren't put in that position of, oh crap, yeah, I think I can answer that. And why did we ask the question? Because when they come at you, they don't know what they're asking for. They're looking for a website, and they want it for the cheapest possible price ever. But they didn't tell you what the website's going to do. There's a rebuttal of questions back and forth. There should be a fill out form of what niche you want, how many pages do you want, how much content are you writing the content, are you supplying the graphics, are you doing this, what part am I supplying to you, what's the time frame am I going to supply this website? There's so much to cover, and you don't have to write any of that down. This is about getting yourself prepared, right? To be in business, to be rank and rent, to supply websites, whatever because we don't know what everybody's doing exactly, but whatever your business is online, you have to be set up. You have to be ready to answer those questions, or you're not ready for clients. Okay. We all focus on the website building. We all focus on the shiny objects. We have to focus on what makes us money, which are the clients. Okay. So I hope I made everybody uncomfortable, because then you're in the right place. If I didn't make you uncomfortable, then you're good to go. You have been doing this, and that's a great place to be. Now, let's expand on what you can do, and let's go back to, if you can do this for yourself, right? If let's just throw a number in the air, 10 different ways to go find clients for yourself. You can reverse engineer at least 6 to 8 of those for the client that you're supplying the website to, and it can offer those services. I can help you get more clients on board, right? Because I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. You have an upsell immediately just in client acquisition. Why are they getting a website? They don't want a website just to have a website. They want it so they can get an online presence that's going to bring them clients. It's going to bring them revenue. They don't care how you do it. They want the phone to ring. They want the cash register to look better at the end of the day after they've worked. They don't care what you do. So listen to what they have to say, answer their questions, and be prepared. That's the beginning of the boot camp. That's what we're here for. Okay. And thank you also for participating, because it wasn't about making you feel uncomfortable, but it was, because when you got that gut feeling of, oh crap, I can't answer that. And let me tell you, there's a 100 different questions depending on the person that came to you is asking, because, you know, we'll get into it later, but you guys, as soon as you became whatever your title is, right? As a website designer, a website developer, a rank and rent website, you know, a lead generation company, as soon as you became that, you became the internet guy. You know everything about the internet. And I don't care whether it's in your wheelhouse or not, the local customers are going to contact you with the internet guy about everything. Once you know, like, and trust, once you're in that category, you're going to be doing all the services that you do and all the services that you may not want to do. But we're going to talk about that later.
Absolutely. And so just to recap on the question, because a few people came in late, if someone phoned you today and said, I'm interested in your services, what do you do? How confident are you in doing this? But one, in the chat if you're confident, two, if you're not. Because you have to be literally ready to answer that question, whether that's on a Zoom call, on you know, in person. You know, if you're in a coffee shop and someone said, I'm interested in a website, I'm really interested in a website, can you give me all your services straight away? You need that pitch. You need a bit of pitch to them in a way that's going to hook them straight in. So if you're confident in what you're doing with that pitch, great. If you're not, right, then there's going to be a lot of training. We're going to have training on that and other areas to do with onboarding these clients, because if you're not confident, you can mess up things very, very easily. When I first started in this industry, I got asked by somebody, what services do you offer? And I gave them some services and they never bought. And eventually I learned to do a pitch. I had a nice one-liner in my head, that which we'll go into in the training. Robert came up with a brilliant one. And the thing is you just need to have that one line that intrigues them. If I sat here and I started saying to you, okay, I'm going to pick Barry for next time. If I said to Barry asked me that question, I said, okay, yeah, I'm a website designer. I do HTML coding. I do WordPress. I do Wix. I do yeah, and I go into stuff and I do PHP editing, and I understand HTML and all the code with it, and I'm really rattling on, and then their eyes glaze over. That's where the problem becomes, yeah. And you have to think out the box when you're selling to these people. And that's what we're going to get into the boot camp. We're going to say goodbye to everyone in the free groups. Can I just Richard, was that you that put the comment in the Facebook page saying that you couldn't get in? I thought it was. That's fine, because I was just monitoring Restream just to make sure that everyone was in. So that's where we're at. If you want to join, there are links in the Facebook groups, and I can recheck the link just before we sign off.
Well, let's answer the question for one last time. Are there going to be replays? As long as Zoom records properly, which both myself and Stephen are recording, you guys are we'll get those recordings as long as we get those recordings from Zoom. Okay, put that disclaimer because you never know what happens. The flip side is anything that we did live interactive training will not go out as a replay, because that's personal space, that's personal time. Plus, Depending on how it's done, if we go into different rooms, it won't record on Zoom anyways. But that's not the point of the boot camp. The point of the boot camp is for you to live to go through the experience of what is it that you can work on? What is it that really makes sense? Because the first part is about being set up for business, right? And that's what we're going to go to now, which is it is pre-recorded. Why did we pre-record it? Because we want to make sure we get all the information to you with no interruptions, and it's straightforward, right? And you have a replay on it to listen to it again, so you don't have to worry about taking notes. However, those copies are solid. We have the recordings already done. Take notes of your questions so that when we come back, we can answer questions, or at the end of the series, we answer.
Yeah. If you're not in, sorry.
I just want to say this too as well. There's different assets for different days, right? So if you're just on the front end for $27, you're going to get the assets and resources of what we have for that day. Day 2 has whole new training, a whole different set of information with a whole nother set of assets. And going to day 3, which is a week away, because it's today and tomorrow is day 1, day 2. Next Saturday currently is scheduled for day 3, so that we're clear on that.
Yeah.
You can upgrade if you haven't. If you want to, that's fine. But the point is, take action, listen, and then adapt this to your business. Adapt this to what you're going to do, and practice it. Have it written down what you're going to say. Have it written down what your prices are going to be, what your packages look like. They got to be like just. And I use the phrase, don't go and start talking to somebody about something that they don't understand and just throw up on them, because they can't take it. Like I said, at the end of the day, all they want is more clients, more sales. They don't care how you do it. There'll be a lot of people that are going to micromanage you, and you have to have ways of handling that, which is in setting up your business, right? And if you don't set it up properly, they will micromanage you to death, and you'll pay for it out of pocket because you didn't cover it in the beginning. So keep that in mind.
So if you're not in and you want to join, you can go to dfymagicthemes.com/DFY client finder. There are links in various groups. I'm going to pop it in. I know we're on YouTube as well right this minute, and I'll nip to Restream and just put a post in there so people have that link. But it should go to some channels. Restream doesn't always put out everywhere. But we are going to say goodbye now to all those channels, and we're going to be in the Zoom room only. So you're not going to get to find out unless you're in. So bye-bye all the groups.